It was July in Virginia. The scent of the dogwood and the laurel lay heavy on the land, while the burgeoning fruit of the peach and the apple marked the full sway of summer. For 7 faithful days, the trees, the flowers, yes, the very ground itself, had shuddered under the roar of cannon, the bark of howitzers, and the crackling of a legion of rifles. Now all was silent. Sledgehammer blows of Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson had mauled the Army of the Potomac, and yet that army was not destroyed. 7,000 men had fallen in that dreadful week, and the savagery of the conflict was grimly evident in the river of wounded that wound through the green hills. Now a new sound drifted in the soft evening sky. For Colonel Dan Butterfield, a courageous and able soldier, was also a man of music. To honor his fallen comrades, he had composed a simple and heart-rending melody. On July 2nd, in the year of 1862, its strains floated over the graves that scarred the dark Virginia earth. It has been more than 100 years since that song was born, but those notes have never died away. Every night of the year, throughout the world, fighting men of America from the north and the south, the east and the west, close their eyes in sleep to its call, and in each of their hearts there glows a fierce surge of pride.
Boys and girls and boys and more boys.
Hello.
Okay. That was a little experiment. I hope everybody heard that all right. In case you didn't know, that was John Wayne telling the history about taps. And that's so. Anyway, we here, even though the Pooper Bowl is coming up tonight at about 8 o'clock or thereabouts. And Trumpy is supposed to be there at happy time. And they got a couple of armed helicopters patrolling the ocean front to prevent any seaside attacks. And, yeah, probably the Coast Guard or something like that. But anyway, reads the line. I don't see any comments about our opening thing there, so if anybody heard it, please let us know. We'll see if that blanks us out.
Speaking of President Trump, I guess there was a deranged woman tried to ram her way into Mar-a-Lago over this past week.
Well, everybody wants to get them down there. They must think that must be the easiest place to get at in that. And,
one of the things that was brought up in the comments section of the one article I had read, and I don't know if this is true or not. I'd like to find out that the Secret Service do his primary, but I guess he has his own private security for his inner sanctum, which makes sense. But I'd not heard that before.
I hadn't heard that before either, but you're right, it does make sense.
You know,
So,
they're not government employees. They are not beholden unto previous administrations. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Or you know, they don't have a political leaning. They have, you know, who's paying their salary, and I guarantee they're probably all, you know, hardcore mercs.
well, I was at my Chapmanville Fire Hall, the show I was putting on, and I have to see how much we made compared to the bills, but I know I made enough to pay at least one of those bills for property tax. And if I made enough to pay the biggest one, which was like $1,800, that is the one I'm going to pay first, because that's the one that's got the highest base thing for interest.
Sure.
And the other one is about $1,200. So I did okay. I did not do great, but I did okay. My tables didn't yield much, but I got a $20 tip for my advice. I won't go into what it was, but a guy gave it was from voters' registrations, signing up people to vote, and he wanted my opinion about a certain item and where to get it. So I told him where I would go to get that certain item. And before he left for the day, he came over and gave my wife a $20 bill because I was busy talking to other people.
I heard this story already, and I'm going to tell you what it was. It was an inflatable love sheet. Apparently the best one on the market is called the Love You.
With the big U.
Sorry, I had to go there.
Now I thought I gave him the table space so that they could, my contribution to the Republican Party to collect signatures for this election coming up. He got about 20. Caught about 20 people that hadn't been registered. But he had to turn several away because they were not from Crawford County, so they couldn't register with him. They had to register with other counties.
I got you.
So he would have had more. Now, for all you ladies and germs out there that are listening in the audience, both local and far away, there appears to be a movement going on in Pennsylvania to make it a Second Amendment sanctuary state.
And what does that mean exactly?
That means it tells them you can't come in here and take our guns away regardless of whether you pass laws or not, so get F-U-C-K-E-D.
I was hoping for a little more specificity, but...
Well, you know me, when one word works, I don't use two.
Basically, it says, like Harrisburg,
Yeah. Philadelphia, double. And so, now, I gave them a table, doing my patriotic part. Oh, I don't want pat on the back, just give me a booze. But, so they were there. They collected for Crawford County, that's the county we live in. They collected 102 signatures, and they were just ecstatic at the number of signatures they collected by the time they were done. They had petitions for other counties. And the one kid said to the guy, this is the way we need to what we need to do is go to the gun shows and try and get a table at the different shows and get this done. They have the petition around different businesses in town, okay, but I told him, I said, the problem with that is the businessman's got one thing priority before that, and that's to take care of his customers and whatever. So you having that petition, and it's not him having that's not the same as you being there and being able to talk.
And also with the gun show, and I know this is silly, it's just baubles, but if they were to hand out stickers or pins, you know, it helps engage conversation. And people like something free, even if it's a 2-cent pen or pin or something with you can put on your lapel.
Yeah. So when they were talking to me, They told me that the Crawford County Sheriff is in favor of it, and so are 2 of the 3 county commissioners. So all you gotta do is get the signatures and have each county pass not a resolution, because resolution doesn't mean nothing on paper, but to pass an ordinance, a county ordinance, to the fact that Crawford County or Pennsylvania is a Second Amendment sanctuary state. And that way the local sheriff and the chief of police and all that from the little burgs and boroughs and foxholes can take and enforce the county ordinance.
Gun in there.
Yes, they can deputize everybody. The only safe house is one that's got 2 or 3 guns and 30 to 40,000 rounds of ammo. They were there and they were wanting to know if they could come to my next show after Easter, and that's down at Cherry Tree. And I said, yeah, we can make room for you. I'll do my part. Anything to stir up trouble.
You see Jack's on.
Jack, are you on there? Yeah, Jack's on there, as he should. Hello, Jack.
Jack!
Hi, Jack. Wait a minute, you're not supposed to say that in an airport. So if you see Jack in the airport, don't go, hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack, this is for you. The reason why I haven't been too active on Facebook the last week or so is because both my sites are in jail.
Oh, you bad boy. Can't you pay your fine and get out?
My primary page is still got 21 days to go on it. My backup page, I have no idea because We'd Go Friday. Actually, both of them hit the We'd Go Friday. And the claim for my backup page was something from a month prior. But it tells me I can't do certain things, but it doesn't say like, how long is it? Is it 7 days, 10 days? Well, I'll pass the 7-day mark. So.
Is it something apparently you posted that?
Oh, I know. See, they don't like the truth or anything negative about, let's say, Joe Biden.
Oh,
Okay. You know, maybe truthful. Oh, that's hate speech. Okay. Or the LGBTQ.
MICKEY, the Mickey Mouse Club.
You say something, negative about them. Oh, that's hate speech. It might be true, but it's hate speech.
So yeah, it's
Oh.
isn't it wonderful to live in a free country where you have freedom of speech? And the powers that be, and the powers that be, they have the communication systems. Edit what you say. I'll use a polite term. Edit. Oh, hell with you polite. Censor what you have to say. And what is it? Are you afraid of the truth? And you figure if nobody speaks the truth, you're like the 3 monkeys. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. You won't get any bananas that way. So
you say anything about, it's like little girl Greta, okay? You're a climate denier, climate change denier.
What, Thunberg or Thunberg?
Yeah, okay. You say something, against, LGBT, and all this, stuff. It's true, but I've seen people post stuff on there just recently. Well, wait a minute. How come that flew and my stuff hasn't?
because of who it is.
I don't know.
They caught you picked as being one of the subversives on Braveheart Radio.
I'm not sure. One of his multi-offenders, I guess.
Yeah, multi-offenders. Yeah, you're right, Emmy. We don't need no second sanctuary. We are the constitutional republic. Assert your rights. The only problem is they would probably put us all in jail for asserting our rights if they eliminate the competition. And
I actually put this on Facebook today. in New Jersey, they had the red flag law. Since it got passed, almost 200 people have lost their gun rights, and most of them permanently.
Yeah.
I didn't read the whole article, but it's just like something.
Well, if it's like
Very
there's,
stupid stuff.
yeah, if it's like any of the other red flag laws, all it takes is your neighbor to say,
Oh yeah.
you know, hey, I'm afraid of him. He's got guns. Knock, knock, knock. We're here to take your guns. The neighbor's afraid of you. Okay. You may not have ever showed the guns to him. You may never even have fired a shot around him, but he knows you got them. Shame on you. I'm afraid, so we're going to take your guns. Then you have to fight through the court system and spend all this money to try and get your rights back, which should never have been taken away from you in the first place. So, I see, I don't know if I pulled that up, but I'll drop the headlines anyway. And if I did pull it up, we'll get into it a little later. The prosecuting attorney of Ukraine that got fired while investigating Biden and against Biden under the Abomination administration has filed a lawsuit against the Bidens in criminal court. Okay? So if you want to know what was really going on, and I have failed to hear this come out of Congress, either side, the fact that Obama and Biden had already put pressure on the Ukrainians to stop the investigation and told them that they would withhold $1 billion worth of foreign aid. Okay, so what happens? The prosecutor that was investigating it, he got fired. The investigation stopped. Now Trump, who was just asking how the investigation was going, is being called on the carpet because he wanted to know if there was any corruption, because we don't want that type of people in the White House.
It's because Biden is running against him.
Yeah. So, anyhow,
if the guy's guilty.
but they don't say anything about that in the news. They don't cover that one bit.
No, because that doesn't fit what they're trying to do.
That's right. And this bit about all
Biden
these,
did no wrong and Trump did
yeah,
right.
and all these delays. I've been thinking about this. All these delays do is give the people that are trying to persecute Trump, gives them time to make up fictitious documents and put fictitious dates on it as to what's being said. And if it's on paper, it must be true. Oh, that keeps popping up on there. I thought I turned you off. Well, let's go over here and go do this. Wanted to use that later, but it keeps popping up, so we'll take it off there. Somebody was just saying that Pentagon is ordering a 1,000-bed virus containment center
Yeah.
for that virus. You know, if this shows you how slow the government is. This information was breaking 3 weeks ago, and they're just now beginning of this week, not the one that's coming up last week. The beginning of last week is when they finally shut down the international flights coming in from. When that broke out, that's when those international flights should have stopped. Okay, they should have stopped right then. If you're an American citizen, I'm sorry, but you can't come home until you have gone through the incubation period of 14 days. And then when you come home, you're going to be quarantined for another 14 days. And that's the way it's going to be, because we don't want people dying because you were an arrogant ass. And you shouldn't have been over
I think
there.
there's 3 or 4 military bases from the quarantine
Yeah.
centers.
Yeah. But that's fine, except for one thing. The people that are exposed to them, okay, You got one airplane that holds, say, 187 people. You got one person on there who's got the virus. You now have 187 people you got to quarantine. Okay, just that quick. Just that quick. Just that quick. Yeah. Wasn't this one, but this one. This one goes deeper. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there I'm telling you, and I have yet to hear any major news media inform the people that that city of Wahoo is the center of the Chinese military's biological warfare facility.
And not only that, it's not that far from an international marketplace.
That's where they found it.
And food processing center that I think our food is shipped from the U.S. to China goes to before it comes back to us. So, who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's what there's. Alex Jones. I was listening to him one day because when I'm in town, I try to check the radio to make sure it's on. Because there are sometimes this thing will shut down and I have no reason why. I don't know what does. So whenever I'm in the car, I always turn it on to see if it's working. And before I come home, I turn it on to make sure it's still working. But he was on there saying, is this the new pandemic? Is this so that they can sell or market a new antivirus virus that's got a part 2 virus for some other kind of virus that, you know? Yeah, okay. And it's a perfect valid point because when I was, you too, when you went into the service, they inoculated from head to toe. Okay? And
before I went to the desert,
yeah.
They inoculated me from head to toe.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I gotta say about that shit. I outprocessed from Fort Carson in November of 1990. Getting ready to go overseas. As part of my medical outprocess, I got a gamma globulin shot.
Oh boy.
It's like maple syrup going into your backside. It hurts for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I got to Germany, as part of my in-processing over there, which was only a month later, I got another one. Probably the same spot. And then, when we got the unit that I was put in, 17 days later, 7 days later, 7 or 8 days later, we deployed to the Gulf. When we got over to Saudi Arabia, we got another one. And then before we came back, 5 months later, we got another one. So in a matter of 6 months, I got like 5 of those damn things. My cheeks were hurt. Plus the damn malaria pills they gave you.
The one, I had the top bunk 3 layers high when I got it. And I jumped down out of the bunk in the morning at Reveille, and when I hit, it almost felt like my ass went to the back of my head. It felt like somebody has stuffed a big old grapefruit up there. And it was not a fun thing. And I don't know how many more I would have gotten if they had kept me in there, but one was plenty. So, but yeah, they can do. I know they were for a while in the early part of Desert Dust 1. They were giving the GIs a vaccination or inoculation that was only half of it. And when they got over there, they got the other half. Why did they have to wait from here to here to give them one half now and one half here? What are those two things supposed to do? You know?
I love the fact that we were given, I can't even remember the name of it, they were called PB tablets, Fina, blah, 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 whatever. And we were supposed to take them every day at the same time because we were convinced that Saddam Hussein was going to use nerve agent, and this was supposed to. But then people started reading the packages, as GIs do, not tested, not for human consumption. People started just chucking them in the burn pit there. No. I wish I had kept mine, just to have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was...
Well, I know they had to do the anthrax shots. It was a series of, I think, 6. And
Didn't have that one.
and you're supposed to give them, if I had retired, I wouldn't have gotten number 5. But then they come out with some about the vaccine itself. I figured that, but it was like causing some problems and whatnot with people. You know, I said if you haven't gotten whatever shots you have left, would be one, you know, it's all voluntary. You can get it. If you don't want to finish the 6-shot program, then don't do it. Why? So I got number 5. I ain't doing one more. If this is bad, why should I add any more bad stuff?
Got enough shit going on as it is.
Okay, guys, they're starting to censor some of you out there because our numbers are fluctuating.
I logged off, so that.
Oh, you logged off?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a new gentleman there was a young gentleman that I met at the gun show who was circulating this petition. And he tuned in to look or scan our last show that we had on there, and he thought it was pretty interesting, but the only problem was his phone ran out of juice, so he had couldn't listen to it all, and he was going to try and be there tonight. Now, young man, if you are there tonight, and you have the ability to sign into chat room and send us a little note that you are there, I'd appreciate that. So, welcome to live chat. Remember, guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Oh my, see, we're up to 10 now. So, I was looking at, before, as I always do before I come down here, if I have time, I always go to our site and look to see how many hits we've had for our show. We had 45 hits on the show just before. That was last week's show, that is, folks. This, I'll know more probably tomorrow because I'm pretty tired. What's that? It shows us right here how many.
in the corner.
Oh, compound life's tuition. Well, that's
I'm just seeing from Thailand.
Yeah. So, anyway, well, we killed a half hour. So if you are in the Meadville, Crawford County area and in your site, and in hearing range of this station, check out different businesses and find out who's got them. I do know the Italian Civic Club was supposed to have them. And I wouldn't be surprised if you could probably find them down at John Amato's in town. I'm not saying you can, but you can always go there and ask them, and then when I talk to these people again, I can always make sure that they get that down here. I know we shouldn't have to do all this, but remember, our founding fathers warned us that if we don't stay vigilant, the tree of liberty is going to have to be watered from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants, and it looks like it's getting time to water it. So, anyway, did you see anything that you like there, Scott?
I didn't look.
Oh, you didn't look. Well, I need a voice break.
I was too scared.
You were too scared.
Yeah.
Well, you pick one, and I'll give them to Mr. T, and he can pick one, and you guys can give my voice a break, because I've been talking for 2 days.
Ooh, I want to read the fun one.
Oh,
Let you.
which one's that? Yeah.
All right. On a little more lighthearted note, it says, this is from WorldNet Daily, taken from the Western Journal. It says, shocker, San Fran official tasked with keeping streets poop-free is arrested. Bum, bum, bum. The man whose job it was to keep San Francisco's streets neat and orderly has been arrested by the FBI over allegations of corruption. Mohammed Nuru, San Francisco's public works director, was taken into custody Monday and charged with felony safekeeping, according to Mercury News. Nick Bovis, a local bar owner, was arrested on similar charges. The Northern District of California's Office of the U.S. Attorney alleges that the duo was part of a wire fraud scheme. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the two attempted to bribe a San Francisco airport commissioner with money and other incentives in order to open a restaurant in the San Francisco International Airport. The complaint describes a web of corruption involving bribery, kickbacks, and side deal by one of San Francisco's highest-ranking city employees, U.S. Attorney David Anderson said in a news release. The public is entitled to honest work from public officials, free from manipulation for the officials' own personal benefit and profit. To add on that, the public is also entitled to functioning streets and sidewalks, something their tax dollars help pay for. The condition of San Francisco's streets seems to hint that Nuru may have been more interested in lining his own pockets than keeping the city he worked for clean and healthy. Nuru, who goes by Mr. Clean SF on his active Twitter account, oversees a department that has been largely ineffective in keeping San Francisco's sidewalks clear of human waste and other unhealthy things. On top of human fecal matter littering many areas, drug paraphernalia and needles are also a common sight.
Okay, before Mr. T, any comments?
Oh no, I'm not done yet. Please stop.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shut your mouth, sir. The condition of the streets has chased away untold numbers of residents and business opportunities, with even local tech giants starting to take notice of San Francisco's disgusting problem. The problem is driven in part by the city's large homeless population, which leadership has been unable to fix. San Francisco's homeless, which includes the mentally unwell, drug addicts, and those that have genuinely fallen on hard times, underscore a stark difference between the Bay Area's big tech mega wealth and those at the very bottom of the liberal city's socioeconomic ladder. Some of the homeless are causing even greater issues than the condition they leave the sidewalks in, with at least one being caught in the act of using a grocery store aisle as a personal toilet. Hopefully, with Nuru's absence, the people of San Francisco can find someone who is actually able to do their job. Although Nuru's fate is still unclear, one thing is for certain: whoever takes over has their work cut out for them.
Done now?
I am done now, sir.
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody? Just goes to show you that San Francisco is full of shit, and they don't have anybody that's smart enough to clean it up. They're getting paid for it, but they ain't doing it. What I was going to say, I got a thing from Emmy that the gentleman that I was talking about is listening. He sent us a tweet, and it says, or a chat, he says, check out Crawford County Second Amendment Sanctuary on Facebook. There we will provide dates of where we will be, as well as local businesses that have our petition. Thank you very much there, young man. I appreciate you doing that. And John Smith, I don't remember him. He goes, were you at Niles? I know I wasn't at Niles. I was in Chapmanville, and the young man that was here was in Chapmanville with me. Niles is over in Ohio, so that would have to be somebody from Ohio. If that was somebody was there at Ohio and Niles, that would be fine. Get Ohio to go the same
I
way.
didn't hear any advertising about the Donald gun shows.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was going on either. I had two guys come in bright and early Saturday morning to go through our show, and then they went down to Niles, and he came back about about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and I saw the hands up, and I said, how was Niles? And he said, it sucked. Okay, so that leaves it open for a lot of comments there, and you can...
Well, I haven't been, well, they changed location now every so often, but it's usually advertised on the radio down my way, and I didn't hear anything. Not at all.
Me advertised on the radio?
No, Niles.
Oh, Niles. Oh, I used to do radio, but it got too expensive.
Yes.
Yes.
Going back to the story that I commented on or had read, they've been having problems in San Francisco with the homeless population, I mean, a long way back. I think it really kind of started big time with the whole, like, the hippy-dippy culture busting out into Haight-Ashbury.
Yeah, but the most recent one seems to be correlated with the increase in the homeless seems to be correlated with the influx of a lot of the illegals that are coming in here. I'm not saying it is,
it's
but
such
it seems
a moderate climate,
Yeah.
like, you know, around here, yeah, I'm sure there's homeless people, but, you know, when it gets cold and nasty, they have to go to a warmer area, kind of tramp on elsewhere.
yeah.
You know, there they can set up a tent and they can live all year, like, you know, year round without having to deal with like super cold weather or well, maybe the occasional earthquake or whatever. But
They can shake and bake, you know. So
Well, and California politicians apparently haven't done nothing. They didn't even federal aid to get rid of that problem. So
yeah, that's what Trump was threatening to withhold their aid if they didn't do something because they've been getting money from the feds to work with the homeless, but it just goes to show you, maybe it's going into somebody's pocket and they caught one of them. And it just
Mr.
happens to be,
Guru,
yeah, it just happens to be a Muslim. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to pick that out like that.
yeah, Facebook would let that be.
Yeah, that.
That's one of their protected.
one of the commenters, John Smith, wrote, "I drank a Corona beer with a lime in it. Does that mean I could get coronavirus with a side case of Lyme disease?"
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. We'll be there in the morning with the shots to inoculate you with.
Wild Turkey 101.
Take it internally and rub it on everything else.
I'll do it. Well, banger right your day.
So your head.
What do you got going on over here, Mr. T?
Well, I have this one from the Western Journal. And it's titled, "Man Who Stopped Church Shooter Under Bloomberg Policy, Disaster Would Have Struck." This is actually rolling out daily, republished by somebody named Kayla Kunkel from the Western Journal. Anyway, the man praised as a hero for stopping the shooter at his Texas church last month is now helping other churches across the country train their armed congregants to prevent massacres from occurring in their own place of worship. I know one church is in the process of training these people. Pennsylvania, anyway. During a church sitting seminar on Sunday, Jack Wilson, the Texas shooter who stopped the other shooter, told those attendants that if Democratic presidential candidate Mike Bloomberg's proposal for gun control were in effect, the shooting would have ended extremely more severe than it did. On December 29th, 2019, a man dressed in a fake wig, and a long coat entered West Freeway Church of Christ in West Selma, Texas, and walked out to a communion service. Now, before I go any farther, White Settlement, Texas. You may not have been aware of that. A few folks in mainstream media call White Settlement racist because they had the word white in it.
They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to specify the color of the race. If it ain't
black,
black.
if you looked up, White Settlement was started by somebody named I'll say White. I don't know. Anyway, this guy walked up to the communion server. He pulled out a shotgun and shot a security, and also shot a security volunteer. I'm sorry. Well, a shotgun shot first at the security volunteer, then the community server before he stopped by Wilson, who serves the head security at the church. And of course, both men shown in the video were shot. You can see them fall, and both later died of their injuries. With his own gun, however, Wilson stopped the shooter and prevented him from killing anyone else in the congregation. The events of the Freeway Church of Christ put me in a position that I would hope no one would ever have to be in, but evil exists and I had to take out an active shooter in church. Wilson there wrote on Facebook. And thankful to God that I'm blessed with the ability and desire to serve in the role of head security of the church. I'm very sad in the loss of two dear friends or brothers in Christ. But evil does exist in the world, and I and the members are not going to allow evil to succeed. Texas Governor Greg Abbott called Wilson a true Texas hero and emphasized that his story showed how a good guy with a gun can stop a bad guy with a gun. However, Bloomberg saw things differently. Being at a campaign event December 30th from Montgomery, Alabama, the former New York mayor said Wilson should not have been armed. It may be true, I wasn't there, but I don't know the facts. That somebody in the congregation had their own gun and killed a person who murdered 2 other people, Wilson said. But it's the job of law enforcement to have guns and decide when to shoot, he said. You just do not want to, you just don't want the average citizen carrying a gun in a crowded place. Definitely a man who is not in touch with reality. Sunday was the first major church sick December always Wilson spoke since the shooting incident. At his own church, nearly 600 people gathered at the North Point Baptist Church in Hurst, Texas, to learn about how they better protect their own church from going to the Dallas Morning News. While speaking to the crowd, Wilson warned them the growing attacks on the Second Amendment as specifically called out Bloomberg. The Democratic candidate's policy plan, he says, supports a gun safety policy that treats this gun violence crisis like a true national emergency, creating an effective background check system, keeping guns away from people who pose a danger to themselves or others, taking young people to school in America's homes, tackling daily gun violence in the white communities and confronting the gun industry head on. Now that's what their guts policies are, as he claims it is, but we are there. The tensions around anti-gun legislation have been rising across the country. The Democratic presidential candidates and politicians in Virginia push restriction of firearms and citizens rallied to fight for Second Amendment rights. We all know that Virginia has basically done away with the Second Amendment. If we were operating on Bloomberg's policy, we would not have had guns in there, Wilson said, for the December 29th act. The outcome would have been extremely more severe than it was. You know, Wilson said he was able, he was only able to save the other 250 Congress alive by using a gun. Bloomberg campaign claimed the entire situation was avoided and paused like Bloomberg been in effect. Now, if I recall, a guy who had a shotgun, don't put on a shotgun. But there was something that was not posted in his records that said he should not have had a weapon, but was not actually posted in his records. So he became unclean. So the Bloomberg policy would not have worked in that case. Okay, well, Mr. Wilson certainly acted brave, but the killer had a history of violence and mental health issues. Under Mike's plan, he would never had a gun. I'm going to say it. Something happened that he was supposed to have a gun, but did not get entered into the record. So there are some holes in the system.
Failure to do your job is why there's holes in the system.
Wilson, yeah, that's right. This was with that other Texas shooter, the church shooter from a couple years back now.
Yeah.
The Air Force guy. The Air Force, I think, at least 3 times failed to post what they should have done, what should have needed. Wilson never maintained that people would be able to get guns regardless of how strict gun laws are. He also told those in Dennis about the importance it is for those with firearms to practice and prepare for attack. You used to have a security team practice, train, Wilson said. But if you don't, if it comes down to the real life scenario, you probably won't react as you need to. He added that his heightened awareness and his skill of firearms played crucial roles in thwarting what could have been a much more tragic scenario. But the outcome of all this, again, people who become aware of their surroundings, as I said, become aware that they are responsible in a large part for their own city and well-being, whether a church, a grocery store, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to read something.
Well, man,
Let me inject something before you do. Go ahead and finish what you were going to say.
in December, my wife and I completed the third part of a 6 hours, it was a 2-hour block instruction, the last 2-hour block instruction on gun self-defense and situational awareness. Now, for me, pretty much everything the instructor taught was refreshing. My wife was, she learned a few things and then maybe starting to understand why I've been such a person I've been in the last several years. especially coming back from the desert. But she's taken security a little more seriously. So I got to go still carry permit yet, but that may come. But she, we are going to your own training because this instructor is trying to get us arranged sometime later on this year, the spring or early summer. So all of us who attend this decide to go shoot for I guess it's class on Friday. This is preparing us for the actual range shooting on Saturday, but we hope to get at least pistol in, maybe some rifle or shotgun. We'll see. I'm looking forward to doing that again.
I got a message from John Smith. My buddy went to Niles and he said it sucks. $7 for nothing.
Where in Niles was that? Because I said, down my way, I don't look too far from Niles, and I heard nothing on the radio. They knew you mentioned Niles Gun Show, but nothing.
Here, the thing from Emmy, I was just now bumped off of, right off of YouTube, but also off of Firefox Close, a twofer.
Twofer.
A twofer.
Oh.
Yeah, YouTube and Firefox. Okay, Scotty, go ahead with your...
This is going to make your heads explode. John Kerry endorsed Democrat presidential hopeful Joe Biden on Saturday, praising him for being willing to do something about an AR-16 with a long clip. Okay. He was speaking at a Biden campaign event in North Liberty, Iowa. Kerry began by addressing the courage Biden showed in pushing gun control as an elected official from Delaware. He then transitioned into specifics, gun types, etc., and suggested Biden is the candidate who will fight for gun control if elected to the White House. Kerry said, "You heard from Joe about the things he did with the NRA that took courage. Delaware's a tough state. I'm a hunter. I'm a gun owner. Been that all my life." But he stressed he is the last person who would take an AR-16 with a long clip out to go out and shoot a deer or to shoot anything. But now we have a crowd that was willing to bring them back, and we saw what happened in Las Vegas and other places. Kerry said Biden will go to the White House and do something about guns.
Amen.
Well,
John Kerry, former U.S. Secretary of State, former Navy Vietnam veteran.
Yes, well, so he says. I mean, there's no...
I know. Yeah, the three purple horse of Christ. This one last two. The guy who doesn't know the difference between AR-15 and M16. And a guy who ought to know that what the AR-15 and M16 use are called magazines and not clips.
As soon as when you started mentioning it, I said, okay, this guy don't know diddly squat about what he's talking. He's reading rhetoric from other people who do not know diddly squat about what they're talking about.
And how?
Okay? And if he's a Vietnam veteran and doesn't know the difference between an AR-15 and an M16, I'm sorry. He got his medals elsewhere. Okay? And if he doesn't know the difference between a magazine and a long clip, he got his medals somewhere else. Otherwise, if not, then he's the dumbest damn veteran that I saw come out of Vietnam.
Yeah, it's just these talking points that they just throw in front of people, and they, all they are is a face that looks good on a camera and can speak well. They don't know their subject matter.
Yeah, but the sad part is they got the camera and they're talking to an audience as about as dumb as they are.
Yeah, exactamundo.
Okay, and that's the sad part. Trying to re-educate these people that are so thick-headed that I have a better chance of sitting here and talking at the wall and boring a hole with my fingernail to get to the outside than I would talking to them to try and instruct them on proper information or with proper information.
Well, it worked for Andy Dupree in Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, but it took them 20 years.
Patience and time, patience and time.
Speaking of gun control, my youngest daughter, age 22. Well, let me back up. We have a security dog. She's still a puppy, but she's a big puppy. Or period. She's barking the other night. The girls go out armed. Dog has a possum pinned. You want to go past. You want to go past. My 22-year-old takes out her 45 caliber. Boom, boom, boom. I'm sorry, 4 shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Now that's gonna do a daddy proud.
Yeah.
my church was going to have a meeting today, I think it was, or maybe it was last week. I was at a gun show, so I couldn't have been there. But they were bringing up the issue about the parishioners carrying guns in the church, and something I didn't know. Of course, I hadn't paid that much attention because I usually sit up in the front, and the biggest crowd sits in the back. Most of the people sit in the back. Must be afraid to get too close to the Lord or whatever. But anyway,
Want to sneak out.
yeah. Anyway, they're bringing up the having membership, getting trained, and provide security at the church services, and I said, well, I'm all for that, but I'm sorry I can't be there to let people know. But that doesn't mean my word will carry anything or carry any weight. Although they did trust me to have me as a trustee for 6 years, and that, so anyhow, we got 8 minutes before the top of the hour.
One reason my daughter let loose, it kept twitching. I want to make sure it was dead. Well, I got to take care of the body yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was punctured.
She hit it all 4 times?
Well, I had a lot because I mean, it was still twitching. I thought, well, that's good. You make sure it was dead anyway.
We'll have to send Randall the bludgeoner down to help her with that.
Well, for good measure, my other daughter got to the pitchfork. So, either way.
You are raising a bunch of bad kids.
Miscreants.
Yeah, misfits.
Well, my other daughter, she's pitching hay with that pitchfork. I'll get her bad side.
Well, my son has been taking my granddaughter out to do squirrel hunting. She's missed a couple squirrels. She just hasn't quite learned how to hold the rifle steady enough on a squirrel.
She is a youngin'.
Yeah, well, she's 11 years old, and she's been shooting an AR-15-22, and she likes that real well. And yeah, so now he's got her. He gave her. Took her out deer hunting a couple of times using the 410 shotgun with slugs in it, and so.
How close do you have to be to a deer for a 410 slugs?
50 to 75 yards, depending on what the brush is like and what size slug you're using. 2 3/4, 3, or 3.5.
Gotcha. I've often wondered about how powerful the 410 slugs are.
Well, I had a high point
Well,
once.
any 410s, I bet.
I had a high point once, and it was damn deadly at 100 yards with the sights that were on without. That was a 9mm, 100 yards with a 9mm pistol. But you got to remember, pistols, the barrels are longest for semi-automatic would be about 6 inches. That's probably too long, but the longest they would be 6 inches. You're shooting an 18-inch barrel using a petrol cartridge. Bleh. Using a pistol cartridge.
Handgun.
Yeah, handgun. For every inch that it stays in the barrel, it will pick up about 25 feet of velocity, which then stabilizes it for longer shooting. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But that's a rule of thumb, an average of 25 feet per second of voltage. So 200 feet, 300 feet per second increase, why it helps it shoot a lot flatter. Well, kids, oh, they're talking about Bernie, and somehow somebody is I saw something about this earlier. They want to be bringing out the wildebeest as, is either Biden's, running mate, or Bernie's running mate. Yeah,
Well, you
so-
know, either Joe or Bernie are going to be dead within a month or two after inauguration.
If they win.
Oh yeah, they
I mean, if they win and she's their running mate, yeah. Arkansas, isn't
Yeah,
that the term? One of
Yeah.
the terms?
yeah. So, anyway, well, I'm going to try.
Air Force One, they shut out the sky, they crash.
I'm going to try and bring something up. If I can do this, just bear with me for a couple minutes, and if I
No,
can get this up,
will not.
we'll take a break. That's not what I want.
Copyright violation.
That's not what I want. I'm not getting what I want. I had it worked out a few minutes ago. So, I don't want that one. I want the next one. Come on, bring them up. Well, it's not bringing up the library, so I guess what I wanted to do, I was going to bring up Red Skelton explaining the Pledge of Allegiance. So at that point, folks, we're just going to take about a 5-minute silence period so I can rest my voice. And we'll be back shortly.
a funny. I want to say this real quick. I did not survive shotgunning pints of Jim Beam every weekend as a teenager to be taken out by a virus named after a light beer.
Well,
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This hour is being brought to you by me.
this I found. Anything else? You got another one over there? Okay, I'm going to do this one. See how long my voice holds out. But this is off of Newsmax. Roberts won't read Rand Paul's whistleblower question. Chief Justice John Roberts has declined to read an impeachment trial question by Republican Senator Rand Paul that purportedly named the intelligence community whistleblower whose complaint led to the impeachment investigation into President Donald Trump. Paul, Kentucky, has said he believes that the whistleblower may have conspired with House staff aides in writing the August whistleblower complaint. The presiding officer declines to read the question as submitted. Roberts announced the Chief Justice did not say what was in the note. Earlier, Roberts' staff communicated to Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, staff, that Roberts did not want to read the whistleblower's name, according to the Republican familiar with the situation who wasn't authorized to speak on the record. Paul said on Twitter after Roberts declined to read his note that the question involved whether or not individuals who were held over from the Obama National Security Council and Democratic partisans conspired with Schiff staffers to plot impeaching the president. There were formal House impeachment proceedings. That was the reference to House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff, Democrat from Californicators, who led the impeachment inquiry. Paul left the Senate impeachment proceedings to hold a news conference on the topic. He claimed his question was not aimed at outing the whistleblower. I don't know who the whistleblower is, Adam Schiff. Doesn't know who the whistleblower is. My question is not about the whistleblower. Paul said my question is about two people who were friends who worked together at the National Security Council who have been overheard talking about impeaching the president years in advance. U.S. whistleblower laws exist to protect the identity of careers of people who bring forward accusations of wrongdoing by government officials. Lawmakers in both parties have historically backed those protections. Associated Press typically does not reveal the identity of whistleblowers. Basically, what they're saying that they're violating the Constitution when it comes to Trump facing his accuser. Anybody can sit down and anonymously write up a bunch of facts predated back to when they think something happened or make look like something happened, and because it is written on paper, it must be true. Just like Bolton in his book, the National Security Agency said that he cannot publish it because it's got too many secrets in it, and that would violate national security.
I never trusted that Yahoo anyhow, even before he got into, when he was just a news commentator on Fox. He just looks like a shady Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. That's all I got to say about that.
So anyway, yeah. So who wants to speak it next? My voice just died.
I'm gonna crank you up.
I have not slept in bed, gotten a full night's sleep for about 3 weeks now.
Okay. Yeah. Title of this article is "We Deplorables may not be Ivy Leaguers, but we can mark X on a ballot." from Borneo Daily. Now, this commentary is Todd Starnes on NBC. He had Rick Starnes and Jess Peters. CNN's Don Lemon gave it like a schoolgirl. Gee, he transgender. Anyway, as panelists Rick Wilson and Wahat Ali, mocked President Trump supported a bunch of illiterate hillbillies. Lemon, who is a defendant in a scandalous sexual assault case, was dissing about Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's dust-up with an NPR reporter who reported could not find Ukraine on the map. Quote, Pompeo also knows deep in his heart that Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on the map. If he had the letters U and a picture of actual physical Ukraine there, said. He knows that this is, an administration defined by ignorance of the world. So if he's ignorant of the world, how come the stock market and economy is so well? Anyway. And that's partly him playing to the base and playing to the audience. Credulous boomeroo demo that backs Donald Trump. Well, that credulous boomeroo demo will be a gun-toting, Bible-clinging deplorables who sent Donald J. Trump to Washington, D.C. to irrigate the deep state swamp. I wrote an entire book about this. Donald Trump's a small one. And all y'all elitists are dumb, most of the fake accent said. You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling, Ali added. Your math and your reading, he said. All those lies to map. Lemon doubled over on an angry desk with tears in his eye, laughing like Anderson Cooper did on New Year's Eve. I didn't watch Anderson Cooper. Look at somebody who just beat himself on national television. President Trump, clearly disgusted by the blistering attack, responded on Twitter. Don Lemon, the dumbest man on TV with terrible ratings. President Trump speaks the truth. Not even Brian Stetler or Oliver Darcy watched on the show. Lemon and Ali are textbook examples of socially acceptable racists. The bosses turn a blind eye to hate spewing money from Lemon's mouth. Imagine what would have happened had a white, nude, angry giggle uncontrollably as his guests mocked black people living around the country. As for Wilson, well, he's a biblical definition of jackass. Arrogant, elitist snob with noses to eye in the air, a good rain would drown him. Like former Governor Mike Harvey wrote, keep up your contempt of us, the rural hillbillies. Laugh at us loud now. Election night, when Donald Trump wins a landslide re-election, I'm sure you won't look so smug. It's not the first time the soy milk and Mexican man shoes crowd has smeared the face. It can call worse. President Obama infamously accused folks in the Rust Belt of playing with their guns and religion. He called them bitter. Hillary Clinton called us a basket of deplorables. And former Vice President Joe Biden said we were all good society. Honestly, folks, I'd rather be a gun-toting, Bible-clinging hillbilly than perpetually offended Java boy snowflake. So good luck with that lawsuit, Mr. Lemon. It show you that new hard feeling here to ward advice from my snowflake roots. It ain't nice to put your hands on the other fellow's private parts.
You had mentioned the Bolton book, and I'm going to read do you want me to read that article?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, this is by Brian Freeman. Comes from Newsmax. It says, White House, Bolton's book has national secrets can't be published. The White House has informed former National Security Advisor John Bolton that he can't publish his book, The Room Where It Happened, a White House memoir, because it contains top secret material, CNN reported on Wednesday. A top National Security Council official wrote a letter dated January 23rd to Bolton's lawyer that the book's manuscript appears to contain significant amounts of classified information and could not be published as written. Some of the information was classified as top secret, according to the letter.
meaning that it reasonably could be expected to cause exceptionally grave harm to the national security. The letter insisted that the manuscript may not be published or otherwise disclosed without the deletion of this classified information. Bolton has said that the book does not contain any such classified material, according to Business Insider. The letter was dated 3 days before a New York Times article revealed that the upcoming memoir exposes a contradiction in Trump's defense against impeachment by alleging that the president directly tied Ukraine's military aid to demands for probes into his political rivals. The threat to Bolton came a few hours after Trump slammed him in a series of tweets for what the president called a nasty and untrue book, and as some Republican senators contemplate forcing the GOP to call the former National Security Advisor to testify in the impeachment trial, which we know now is not going to happen, because they decided that no witnesses will be called, and they're going to continue with their closing arguments on Monday.
Well, that's good. Get this thing over with and quit spending taxpayers' money for nothing. Put that money to good use and build a wall.
What I think about all this is this. It's political theater. The people, the Republicans, for the most part, don't give a rat's ass about the people. And the Democrats, who are saying, well, this is an affront to the Constitution and American democracy, they couldn't care less. They don't care about the institution of our country. It's all about power. It's all about money. It's all about staying in
Prestige, power, greed,
Yeah.
money.
They have, you're probably right about that. Well, you are right about that. You can tell they don't care about our country because they refuse to call it what it is. Constitutional limited republic. Okay? Constitutional limited republic. Not a democracy. And I've used this thing before. A democracy is real simple. Even a simpleton can understand this. You have two wolves and a sheep trying to decide what they're going to have for supper. Okay? Very simple. Two wolves and a sheep trying to figure out what they're going to have for supper. And with a democracy, sorry sheep, you're it. But under a constitutional republic, even if they voted to make him there, they couldn't have him because it's a violation of his rights, constitutional rights. Like I say, I may be oversimplifying it, but sometimes you just have to be simple. Uh-oh, you guys are doing it again. They've knocked you down to about 8. So watch what you're saying out there. You're being censored again. Who's got something next?
Well,
I could read this one here. This goes along with the whole investigation leading up to. It says, this is from WorldNet Daily, published on January 30th of this year. Ex-Trump aide Carter Page sues Democrats over dossier. Carter Page, who briefly was a Trump campaign advisor in 2016, is suing Democrats and their lawyers for obtaining spy warrants that now have been proven to be illegitimate. Page is one of the central figures in the Democrats' now debunked claim that President Trump colluded with Russia to win the 2016 election. As primary evidence to obtain the warrants to spy on Page, the Obama Justice Department and FBI submitted a dubious dossier based on Russian propaganda that was funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee.
that should tell you everything you need to know.
Fox News reported Thursday that Page's lawsuit is against the Democratic National Committee and the law firm of Perkins Co., which handled the payments for the dossier. Let me continue. It was filed in U.S. District Court in the Northern District of Illinois Eastern Division. Page's lawyers said it is the first of multiple actions in the wake of historic abuse by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, documented by Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz in a report released in December. Red State Blog commented, "The real goldmine here will be a monetary settlement. It will be the discovery. Okay, back it up. The real gold mine here will not be a monetary settlement. It will be the discovery process, which will give Carter Page's legal team the ability to gain access to all manner of communications by the DNC and Perkins Co. concerning anything to do with the Steele dossier. Page, Red State said, was the designated fall guy in the attempted Democrat coup against President Trump. Page attorney John Pierce said the lawsuit is the first step to ensure that the full extent of the FISA abuse that has occurred during the last few years is exposed and remedied. Defendants and those they worked with inside the federal government did not and will not succeed in making America a surveillance state, Pierce said. Page previously filed a case in Oklahoma, but it was dismissed by a judge who argued there were no strong case ties to the state, Fox News explained. The new case was filed in Illinois based on allegations the relationship with the firm behind the dossier, Fusion GPS, was orchestrated through law firm's Perkins Co. Chicago office. It claims the defendants used false information, misrepresentation, and other misconduct to direct the power of the international intelligence apparatus and the media industry against Page to further their political agenda. Horowitz found the FBI made repeated errors and misrepresentations before the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court as the FBI sought to monitor Page in 2016 and 2017. The IG concluded the Obama administration's submissions relied on news reports as evidence along with the unverified dossier. This month, the FISA court ruled that at least 2 of the 4 applications for warrants to monitor Page lacked probable cause.
And there's that key phrase.
Them using all them big fancy legalized words.
Yeah.
What got me in the whole collusion affair, it came out over and over again. All this stuff was based on a lie. Or lies. We had to go through the whole thing. Waste of time, waste of money. Diversion. Keep trying to getting done what you want to get done, or find out how corrupt politicians and Democratic side are. Where's the common sense of, hey, look, this, stop the process, fall back, this is what, why go any further when you know there's already falsified information? So this impeachment process, in blind proportion, and actually, under the Constitution, Trump had every right to investigate Americans who commit crimes overseas. And Biden, somebody's running for president, he committed a crime.
Well,
Time in court, found him guilty, and put him in prison.
he should have, well, he and Obama both were in collusion with trying to cover up the
Oh, God, the corruption that Obama
investigation of Biden's son anyway, because they put pressure on the Ukraine to fire the prosecutor who was checking him out to find out if there was, and so it boils down to, if you put pressure on somebody to fire somebody, then you're just as guilty of collusion or corruption as they are. Trump was trying to find out what they were going to do about it after he found out about it.
And part of the whole problem is the fact that we have career politicians.
Yeah.
This again speaks, we need funds. And we the people need to demand, hey, Congress, we're putting term limits on you. Okay? Somebody says, 12 years, 2 terms for senator, 3 for a House representative, 12 years, you're gone. No pension, but you save your money in that 12-year period, or how long you're elected, how long you serve in office, and you're gone.
And gratuities from universities or anyplace else while you're in office. After you're out of office and the college wants you to come and they want to pay you, well, that's fine, because you're now on your own time. You're not being paid by us. and that would stop all them. Well, it would stop a lot of idiots. Because, well, I'm not going to go in there if I can't make millions of dollars on the side and sell my vote. And I think, and I personally think that the oh, cripe, the people that are there's influence peddling in
Oh, yeah, they're buying votes for their own personal or
lobbyists.
Lobbyists, that's
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah, and there should be no lobbyist. And that because these people are there not to do the bidding of big industry who's got the money to pay a lobbyist to go down there and treat them to, well, to be perfectly blank, to a couple of nights out with a couple of top dollar ladies of the evening, okay, or a nice cruise somewhere to some secluded island that has a reputation of having children, okay. This stuff, you get rid of that type of people because they're not making the money. Go back to what I forget what where is Congress getting now? Do you know? $100-some thousand a year.
I think it's 174.
Yeah, I'd like to see them all take at least $100,000 a year cut.
Well, what was it? Democratic comment a couple 3 years ago. No longer mentioned that Congress needed a pay rate because he could just not live in Washington D.C. on a salary of $174,000.
Yeah, that was Cortez.
I remember.
Yeah, it was a female.
This was before AOC.
Oh, before AOC?
This is before AOC.
Yeah. 'Cause I know she
Yeah,
did
it was
that.
a man. He said, I can't do it. I can't, Okay.
If you didn't have a- if you didn't spend-
Go home.
If you didn't spend all that thousands of dollars for a lady in the evening, you probably could afford to stay there. Or, let's put it this way, get an average size apartment somewhere just like anybody else does, and you probably could afford to stay there. But just because you got a job as a representative does not mean that you get a Taj Mahal to live in. You get a house just like the rest of us. And when you leave your job,
Hell fire, they should have, for all the more time they spend there, they should have like a dormitory like they have in colleges.
yeah, but if they want, but you do this. Yeah, what a novel idea. But if they don't want to do that, you could take and say, okay, here's what it is. We have, the government buys X number of houses for these people to stay in. When you leave, you turn in the key and the next guy moves in. You move out, next guy moves in. Okay? Or like you said, a barracks or something like that for them to live in. Plus the fact, yeah, plus the fact they were not intended to be down in Washington 12 months out of the year. Okay? And only come back and visit once or twice. They were only supposed to be down there for 1 or 2 months at the beginning of the year to take care of the budget and whatever, and then rotate in and out a small quorum to deal with any emergencies that were come along. There would always be a quorum down there, but the rest of them would go home. Next month, a new quorum would come down, and to deal with any problems that were going to show up.
Put them in a barracks, have them bunk beds.
Yeah.
Let me the chow hall.
Give them one of them Google goblin shots.
Yeah.
Gamma goblin, yeah. Give them one of them. See how spiky they are.
Oh yeah.
And
Let them live off of MREs and T-rats for several weeks at a time. When down the road, they'd be so full of shit.
ding. Yeah, well, they're full of shit already. So
Yeah.
what can I say? This maybe probably make them a little less constipated so they can think clear. Instead of thinking in black and white, they can think in color.
I think here's a Democratic door for it. Okay, you have male housing and the female housing. And then over here somebody says Republican. Okay.
I think that there should be two senators, or two politicians to a room. One Democrat, one senator. That way they can start working together, thinking like each other, living like each other.
One Democrat, one Republican.
Yep.
Yeah.
The whole floor's that way.
They'd probably have a lot of missed attendance because they probably got in to go fight and beat the shit out of each other. But that wouldn't be so, I don't think that'd be so bad. We find out who's got balls and who don't.
Do we have to pay the medical bills they get this fight in the army?
Well, the Army has medics. Give them some Motrin. Send them back.
Kill Motrin, yes. Here, Motrin.
Drink water.
Yeah, Mr. T's mic's on. Thank you, Mr. Jones. It was on, yeah. He just wasn't picking up very well. Does that help, Mr. Jones? Send us a flash, let us know.
All right, here's something going along with the Carter Page story that I just read. This one is Stunner. Obama Dems were trying to work with Russians to take down Trump, according to WorldNet Daily.
Oh my gosh, did I pull that up? Oh, I'm in trouble now.
The Obama administration was trying to work with a Russian oligarch to take down President-elect Donald Trump, concludes a report from the Federalist. It cites a previously unnoticed passage in Inspector General Michael Horowitz's report on federal surveillance abuse. Suggesting Department of Justice official Bruce Orr held a multi-department meeting to working with Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska to undermine Trump. Please forgive me. The implications are startling. Orr, in his apparent capacity as director of the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force, called a meeting of agency members to discuss working with a Russian oligarch because of his belief, premised on the unverified Steele dossier, that President-elect Trump was corrupt, the report said. Democrats charged the Trump campaign colluded with Russia to win the 2016 election before special counsel Robert Mueller's probe debunked the claim. The Federalist said 200-plus pages into the IG report, while discussing former Associate Deputy Attorney General Orr's continued contacts with Crossfire Hurricane dossier author Christopher Steele, Horowitz revealed a significant detail that to date has been overlooked. On December 7, 2016, Orr convened an intra-agency meeting, including representatives from the FBI, regarding strategy in dealing with Russian oligarch 1. After the meeting, the IG reported one of Orr's junior department colleagues who attended the meeting asked Orr about why the U.S. government would support trying to work with Russian oligarch 1, the moniker used in the IG report to refer to one of Vladimir Putin's closest confidants, Deripaska. The Federalist said Orr's response was nothing short of shocking. Orr told her that Steele provided information that Trump campaign had been corrupted by the Russians, and that the corruption went all the way to President-elect Trump. Orr's junior colleague told the IG that Orr explained this information was the basis for the Deripaska discussion in the intra-agency meeting they had just left, the Federalist reported. The report ties the loose ends together. It has been known for some time that Steele spoke with Orr about Deripaska, but while the Steele-friendly press portrayed those discussions as FBI attempts to flip Deripaska, the IG reached a different conclusion. He found Steele performed work for Russian oligarch 1's attorney on Russian oligarch 1's litigation matters, and, as described later in Chapter 9, passed information to Department Attorney Bruce Orr, advocating on behalf of one of Russian oligarch 1's companies regarding U.S. sanctions. The IG further found that Orr and Steele's communications concerning Deripaska occurred in 2016 during the time period before and after Steele was terminated as a confidential human source. The findings, coupled with previous reports that Steele worked for one of Deripaska's lawyers, London-based Paul Hauser,
and appeared to lobby on behalf of Deripaska through a DC-based attorney, Adam Waldman, renewed questions concerning whether Steele violated the Foreign Agent Registration Act, also known as FARA. Likewise, the IG reports notes that Orr said that he understood Steele was angling for Orr to assist him with his client's issues, and that Orr stated that Steele was hoping that Orr would intercede on his behalf with the department attorney handling a matter involving a European company. Suggest the need for a FARA investigation into Steele's work, the report said. Steele is the hired agent who was paid by Democrats and Hillary Clinton's campaign to assemble a list of wildly salacious and unverified accusations against then-candidate Trump, a document apparently used by the Obama administration to launch federal intel agency investigations into his campaign. Steele's unverified dossier was submitted to a secret federal court and became the foundation for the Democrats' claim of collusion. The Federalist documented that the passage revealed several key points. One, that Orr had convened the interagency meeting after Americans elected Trump. We also know that one of Orr's Department of Justice junior colleagues attended the meeting, at which there was a discussion of trying to work with Deripaska. We can surmise that Orr called the December 7, 2016 meeting in his capacity as then director of the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force for three reasons. First, the first OCDETF is a multi-agency task force comprised of members of the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, Treasury Department, U.S. Postal Service, and Department of Labor. Second, Orr testified before Congress that as director of the OCDETF, his deputies included coordinate drug and organized crime investigations within the department, and that organized crime investigations, including transnational investigations of Russian organized crime and Russian oligarchs, the report said. Federalists asked, did the Steele intel prompt Orr to push for the United States to work with Deripaska in Orr's role as director of the OCDETF? So that kind of goes along with what Mr. Page was saying, Carter Page, regarding the FISA abuses and all these agencies being drawn in, duped.
You know, you have the guy Steele admits that he fabricated the thing at the behest of the Clintons. You have Obama and Biden putting a stop to an investigation of corruption in Ukraine in that energy company.
Burisma.
Yeah, Burisma. Okay. You have Obama and his sidekick Biden again trying to put collusion on Trump for Russian interference in the election. And you know, I don't know how they can figure that there's Russian interference in the election when the Russians can't go to the poll and vote. Okay. Supposedly only live Americans are allowed to go and vote at the polls. But it has been proven that a lot of dead ones are getting out of their grave and going in and voting. But so the corruption, all this keeps going back full circle, comes around again to the circle, and goes right back to those that started, and that's the Bidens, the abominations, and the Clintonistas. And the Democrats want to hide all that. That's what all this impeachment is about, to disguise all that while they're running their campaign to put their communist leader in, their new communist leader in
I don't know
power.
when all these folks are going to jail.
Yeah. And none of them will go to jail because, oh, well, we can't have our government rocked by such treasonous acts and proving that they were doing that.
And it slays me that, you know, so many of the left-leaning folks out there, like on Facebook and whatnot,
go on and on about how 8 years of Obama, not one scandal. Well, you know, and I want to slap him, because if the press dug into every nuance of his, you know, of his life, and gotten so far into his business, anybody would have enough for a scandal, especially anybody that's been in politics their whole life. So you can take that whole, well, there's not one scandal in 8. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Gad running in Mexico wasn't a scandal?
No, because that was, Holder fell on that sword, so his buddy Obama didn't have to take any heat for it.
I seriously doubt it. Holder did it on his own.
Oh, heck no.
I don't want this to go as a characterization of all the Democrats out there, but the Democrat hierarchy doesn't have the brains to do this kind of stuff on their own. Okay? That's why they're having so much proving what they're saying, is because they have nothing, there is nothing, and they saw nothing. Does that remind of Sergeant Schultz and Hogan's Heroes?
They see nothing, they hear nothing.
I know nothing. I know nothing. That reminds me of the Three Monkeys.
Yeah.
Hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil, except for one fact. They are speaking evil. But they're not paying attention to the evil they're speaking because they don't think it's evil. And
No.
something that I forgot to mention, when I was talking to these gentlemen at the gun show about the sanctuary set up for Pennsylvania and Crawford County and that, I forgot to mention, what did I forget? I just had it. What the hell? If I don't get some sleep one of these nights, and damn, I had something I wanted to bring in, and it's gone. It's a train wreck. I wish my buddy Rich Blocker would be here. He'd help me straighten it out, because there's another train coming.
Okay, did that do with sanctuary counties? Gun laws?
That was tying that all in there, and I forgot what it was that I was trying to tie that all into. Okay? That's the problem. I had it all figured out, and then when I started it, it's gone. Oh, money, buddy, oh, what was I trying to say? Anyway, you guys carry on for a few minutes. We only got about 12 minutes left to go. Or 17 minutes left to go.
Yeah, I'll do this one. Dershowitz wants his crushing defense against Dems and impeachment trial. What would that deal? This is the argument the Senate and the country need to hear. Day 2 of President Trump's impeachment defense Monday brought famed attorney Alan Dershowitz to explain the kind of assault on the Constitution that characterizes Democratic impeachment attempt on the grounds of use of power and obstruction of Congress. And he used some of the biggest names in American history to do so. Going back to the earliest days of the Republic, not democracy, Republic, Dershowitz noted that President began with George Washington could have faced impeachment under the loose, patently unconstitutional standards being used by Democrats in the 21st century. The self-acknowledged support of Hillary Clinton, Trump's Democratic rival in the 2016 election, stressed to senators that impeachment was a remedy established by the founders for behavior so extreme it was beyond the normal values of politics in a democracy. In Washington and fellow founders Thomas Jefferson and John Adams to Republicans like Abraham Lincoln and Democrats like Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Bush said President accused by political opponents of abusing their power. However, the answer was not in a radical impeachment drive, but in working for the defeat in public elections. I'm sorry, House managers just picked the wrong criteria. We picked the most dangerous possible criteria to serve as president for how we supervise and receive future presidents. We don't like the guy, vote him out. Only thanks to a conveniently timed leak, the New York Times, an anti-Trump newspaper record, Bush was forced to address the story that former National Security Advisor John Bolton had written a book that supports democratic changes that Trump used power by withholding military aid to the country of Ukraine, by demanding investigate corruption allegations that could involve former Vice President Joe Biden. As Dershowitz claimed, the Biden story might or might not be serious, but it's essentially irrelevant to the impeachment trial, with the potential to overturn the results of the presidential election. Any president would have done with time report about the content of Bolton's manuscript, that would not constitute an impeachable offense, Dershowitz said. Let me repeat, nothing in the Bolton revelations, even the truth, would rise to the level of an abuse of power or impeachable offense. That is clear from history. That is clear from the language of the Constitution. It implies that Democrats are doing something that is a total violation of the Constitution. Anyway, and this is the hard matter. What Democrats are doing now is turning their destructive, deranged dislike for Trump and the religion he's brought to American politics into an attempt to drive him from office that's dressed up in a constitutional finery. Every fire can't decide the inherently undemocratic nature of the democratic effort. The place to settle political differences is in a political campaign in a November election. Because the Democrats are clearly afraid that they will win that campaign is no excuse to indulge in a poorly veiled assault on the Constitution and come close to qualifying as a coup. If I remember correctly, when they looked at the two charges against Clinton, there are federal statutes that he violated. Two charges against Trump are no relevant constitutional or no laws he violated. Democrats may think the rules are different because President Donald Trump, but the lesson George, a retired Harvard law professor, was teaching was that the precedent they're trying to set now will show a constitutional system at its foundation of co-equal branch of government. Personal political preferences are not an issue, say. I stand against the application and misapplication of the constitutional criteria in every case against every president in regard to whether I support his or her party or policies. That's the reality of it. Even Hillary Clinton's supporter like Dershowitz sees inherent danger in the impeachment process that seeks to make Congress supreme over the presidency, regardless of whether the current president is a man or the Clinton supporters despise. The stakes of the Trump impeachment are higher than any so-called revelation from Bolton, higher than Trump himself, and materially higher than the united political admissions of swamp dwellers such as House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and her flying monkeys in the mainstream media. That was the argument Dershowitz was making, and it's just what the Senate and the country need to hear. Right? And again, this appeared in the Western world. So, basically, again, I said, the two charges against Trump had basis of federal statutes. The one they posted against Trump, no basis of federal statute, no laws were violated. What they're doing is trying to overdo a duly elected president in the election process for him.
Yeah, that's from a constitutional law professor.
Yeah, Dershowitz, he's right on top of shit.
Yeah, and the sad part of it was, he was the go-to guy when Democrats were having their shit, okay, with problems. Now that Trump's having his problems and he's telling the people that Trump doesn't have problems because it's the fault of the Democrats because he didn't do anything, if you follow what I'm saying. Now that the Democrats are kind of disowning him or trying to discredit him, and
You either say what they want you to say, or they're going to have.
yeah, that's exactly it. Brainwash him, and you say what we tell you to say, or go home.
Blacklist.
Blacklist, yeah. And that was also supposed to have been outlawed back in the, what was that, back in the 40s or 50s, blacklisting people. We became civilized and we weren't allowed to do that anymore.
I'm surprised that term hasn't fallen out of favor because it's
I know.
It's
Black,
such- but it's-
potentially racist inclination.
That's right. That's why it's gone. It's word black. Okay, and so anyway,
blacklist is up to him, blackface.
Yeah, I understand that. I was just being facetious.
yeah. But you know, but if you look at the stupidity of the people out there when they do this stuff, and they bring this stuff up, you know, they're trying to censor everything you say or do so that you become tunnelized down to their way of thinking or their level of stupidity, because they know that an uneducated person does not have the ability to think and reason or ask questions. So therefore they're easy to dominate and keep under control. Just ask the Nazis in World War II. Just ask the communists and the rest of the Red Bloc. That's how they were able to stay in power for so long.
So the fascists under Mussolini, he did the same thing.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So I was just using those as examples, but this is how these people stay in power. That's how dictators stay in power. They train you to think the way they do or the way they want you to, and then you don't question what they're saying because you're not being exposed to that.
Distract people with freebies.
Yeah.
Here's your welfare. Here's your food
People know
stamps.
that
Buy them off with the freebies.
people know that if I say anything against the government, it could be some kind of punishment.
Well, they don't have to punish you. They just they put you in Facebook jail. You know,
Yeah.
so you can't say
Yeah, so you
those
can't say what you
offensive,
wanna say.
horrible, awful
Thingle
truths.
bobbers. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
What's
what
it call it?
Kirk
And thingle
Hey,
bobbers.
Jack, are you still listening? If you can, could you post on both my Facebook pages that I'm in Facebook jail and can't respond? I don't know if you can or not.
Let me see you just try to do that and just see what happens.
Now I want everybody to remember to go to that. Let's see if I can scroll this back to the gentleman so I can find the right place. The gentleman from the Sanctuary Facebook page, Sanctuary
I think I can pull it up quicker than you.
No, I'm
You on chat? You mentioned that?
I'm on chat room.
No, was that good?
Yeah, he was on there.
Oh,
Yeah, this is him right there.
oh, okay.
Nick's nuts. Okay, that's his Facebook page, I guess. But anyway, go to the Sanctuary things and find out where they're going to have the petitions and where it's going to be next, and sign them, because I don't know if we're going to be able to save the Republic without a war or not. It's looking more and more like we aren't going to be able to do it that way. It's looking more and more like we're going to have to go to war. But anyway, did you find it?
No,
Too many of them.
it only held so many in my phone, then it
Yeah.
blocked me.
This has the whole list of them. That's how when I go in to check the show on Monday nights or whatever, I can go down through and read all the chats because they're all saved there.
Essentially, just go into your Facebook search feature and type in Second Amendment Sanctuary State, Pennsylvania. Or
Yeah.
it'll pull something up.
But I won't be able to join the group.
like,
Yeah. So do your part be one of the old-time Americans that had balls and stand for your rights. Sign the petition today. I did, my wife did, by the way. We signed it yesterday. And I think I was the first one to sign at the show. But, so,
You got any more gun shows coming up soon?
oh, yeah, next week. Next week at Venango County Fairgrounds. They just pulled that one up out of their ass to tell us that they're having it. So I'm going to be there. I missed Clintonville because I didn't tell them what I was going to have on my tables. So they wouldn't let me have tables. Then I have a whole list of other ones. Where's my... I put a calendar up here with over there. And,
Don't mean her.
yeah, so there's Harbor Creek, I'm sorry, there'll be Rocky Grove coming up.
See, the weekend of the 8th is Venango County. Weekend of the 15th is Clintonville. Weekend of the 29th is Elwood.
Yeah,
And in March, the weekend of the 7th is Rocky Grove. Weekend of the 14th is Scott Township.
yeah,
And the weekend of the 21st is Hidden Vale.
Hidden Valley,
Hidden Valley.
yeah.
And then if you go up into April 11th, Cherry Tree. I can't read your writing on this.
No, Cherry Tree should be after Easter.
I can't even read it.
Yeah.
It looks like green taco.
I
That's
might probably put that on there, so that might be Cherry Tree. 14th,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the 11th.
11th.
Weekend of April the 11th.
Yeah. That's, our Cherry Tree is supposed to be the first one to, oh, maybe that's, no. Two of them that weekend, Ashtabula and Jefferson, Ohio, I should say, and then our Cherry Tree at the same time. And that, so,
You mentioned Hidden Valley. You told me one down at like Rolling.
yeah. It's hidden.
I know.
I've been there.
Well,
They got a good name for it.
I tried to go there once 2 years back, and then the parking lot was full, and everybody was parking on the side of the road for about as far as you can see.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Never mind.
So, well, folks, that brings us to 2 minutes to the end of the show. You got any parting
warning.
comments? 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning.
I'm not watching Super Bowl.
I will probably try to watch the halftime show to see the president, see what goes on there. But other than that, I really don't give two shits in the holler. And I will probably go up to the house and probably fall asleep before it happens. I got sick this week. I got up Tuesday morning, my stomach didn't feel right. I had my usual cup of coffee and a couple slices of toast with honey on it. And about an hour later it started to churn, so I got a can of regular Coke, which normally settles my stomach whenever I have a stomach problem. The regular Coke. Yeah, well, anyway, one half hour, 45 minutes after that I tried to make it to the bathroom and I just poof.
Yeah, okay.
And then I had to turn around and then I got up and had to poof. I didn't know I drank that much. So I made a mess and I helped the wife clean it up, but I was sick.
Well, tomorrow will be busy. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, make sure I'm ready to get down and have my breakfast and get dressed, get out and help take care of the animals, and make sure the gates are open for the Amish guys to come back and start building a
Barn?
bigger barn, yes.
Yeah.
And then go to the feed store.
Well, I'm gonna sleep. I'm hoping to be able to sleep all night. And when I do, I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow until I feel like it probably noon. If I can get to sleep. Then I'm going to go through my tax bill and see which one I have enough to pay, and I'm going to pay the biggest one I can. And but we still could use any donations out there, folks, and I put the address out last week, so you look up last week's show, because I don't have time to go through it now, because it is now 8. Scott, you got any final words?
22 veterans a day commit suicide. Look out for your
Yep.
brothers and sisters.
Yep. So, get out there, get active, get proactive, and I'm not talking about just in Pennsylvania, I'm talking about all the rest of the states where you people can hear us. Get active. Okay, at that point, good night, folks.
Night.